So you successfully acquired a rental property. Congratulations. Now it's time to get a tenant to move into your rental property. So in this video, I'm gonna go and share my tips and tricks on how to properly screen a tenant before they move in to your rental property. Hey, what's going on, friends? This is Kwak, one of the Kwak brothers, real estate investor. And in this video, I'm gonna go and share my top tips and tricks on how to properly screen a tenant before they move in. But before we do, be sure to hit the subscribe button as well as ring the bell icon so that you guys get notified for the future videos. All right, the first step is to market your property. And a lot of times these free softwares out there will allow you to go ahead and list your property to all these popular sites at once. So apartments.com, Zillow.com, HotPads, Trulia. And before you do, be sure you have good, solid pictures. Make sure you have good lighting. Be sure you have all the garbage cleaned out. And a lot of times when you use good pictures, you tend to attract better tenants. A lot of the bad tenants tend to go with the bad listings or bad pictures, mainly because they know that they can get away, or they might be dealing with a bad landlord or inexperienced landlord. So be sure you use professional, good, clean pictures. You don't have to use, fancy cameras, but make sure you use good lighting and also clean out the garbage before you go and take pictures of your property. Now, the next step is to schedule a showing on your rental property. Typically, you're gonna get lots of phone calls as well as emails asking you to go and show them the property. Now, my preference is to use an automated showing system such as Rently. And guys, I don't get paid by Rently to tell you this, nor do I get any sort of affiliate compensation, but I do love Rently mainly because it's an automated showing. You don't have to physically be there to show the property. Now, the way that this works is that you're gonna get a special lockbox from a company like Rently, and of course, you're gonna put your key in there. You're gonna hang the lockbox on your rental property entrance door, and your future tenant is gonna go and select a time that works best for them. Now, they're gonna show up at the rental property, and what Rently is going to ask them to do is to fill out a credit card number slip, and Rently is gonna go and charge $1 as a deposit. Now, this is nice because you don't have to physically be there, but if there's an accident or a damage, you have their credit card number to go ahead and compensate yourself for any damage. Now, of course, after they pay the $1, they get the lockbox code combination, which is unique for that specific time, and they'll go and look around, take a look at the property themselves, and put the key back. And next step is they'll be asked to apply for the rental property after they've seen it. Now, this is nice because you don't have to physically be there. You can handle as much traffic as you want. You don't have to waste your time driving to the rental property and back, and you don't have to waste your time with the bad tenants or unqualified tenants. So Rently is a good service to use. Again, I don't get paid to tell you guys. I'm just a user myself, and it's super convenient to deal with just an automating showing system. Now, after they've seen the property, go and have them fill out an application. And with the application, we ask our future tenants to pay an application fee of $65. Now, of course, you can choose $65, you can go with $75, you can go with $50, no more than $85. That tends to be a little bit more steep. So we charge an application fee of $65. We use that towards the credit and background check, which we're gonna go and talk about that in the next section. And we charge the application fee per adult. So that's anyone that's 18 or over. So if there's 2 or 3 adults moving in, we charge them by the heads, and we charge them $65 per adult. Also, be sure to ask them for a social security number because you're gonna need that to run the credit check. All right, after they submit the application, be sure to do a credit and background check. This is super important, and there are services out there, and you just need to pay 30 to 40 bucks to do a credit and background check on a person. Now, what you're looking for, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about different things. On the credit side, I'm not necessarily looking for a set credit score, but what I am looking for are certain items that are red flags, such as any past eviction in the last 36 months. So for us, we don't accept any tenants that have evictions in the last 36 months. That just goes to show you that they haven't paid their last rents. If they have any late payments, this depends. If they have a 30 days late payment on a bill, we don't want that to appear for at least the last 12 months. If they have anything that's more than 30 days, say 60 or 90 or 120 days late on a bill, we don't want that in the last 24 months. So if they have a 90 days late on a credit card bill, and that just happens to fall in with the last 24 months, that's a huge no-no for us. We prefer people to pay on time with their bills. Another thing is collection. If they have any utility collection or cable bill collection in the last 24 months, that's a no-no. Medical collection is a little bit different. Medical collection works differently when it comes to credit. So we sort of overlook medical collection, but anything that's utility, cable collection, late payments, eviction, also bankruptcy, we'll look at bankruptcy as a consideration. Not as much with the foreclosure, but when it comes to bankruptcy, we don't want any individual with the bankruptcy in the last 24 to 36 months. So we look at that. And of course, on the criminal side, we don't want any theft, battery, assault in the last 24 months, any drug abuse, intent to distribute, possession, we don't want to see that in the last 24 months either. Now, let's say if they have an abuse or an assault charge on their criminal background information, 36 months ago, maybe that's something to overlook, but if they have something in the last 12 months, yeah, that's gonna be an issue. Now, be sure to keep this consistent, because if you have one criteria with one set of group of people and another criteria for another set of group of people, you could run into some discrimination issue. So make sure you have a set criteria for everybody, not just one criteria for another, and so on. So make sure you do a credit and background check, hugely important. And a lot of times you'll figure out, okay, this is a bad tenant or this is a good tenant, mainly from credit and background check. Doesn't mean that they're bad people, but it just means that they just don't qualify for our own criteria and what we're looking for in our own tenants. Now, alongside with the application, what I should include was proof of income. Now, this is super important because, of course, we want to make sure that they are making money and they have a job to pay for rent. So what we typically look for is a job income that's at least 3 times the amount of rent. So if we're charging $1,200 for rent, we want to see that they at least make $3,600 or more. With the proof of income, we want to see at least two to 3 months of pay stub or 2 to 3 months of bank statement. If they're self-employed, we prefer to see the bank statement. If they have a job, we want to see pay stubs or W-2s, whatever is preferred. And we also want their employer's information so that we can call to verify to see if the pay stub is true or not. Because who knows, they may have been fired yesterday and this pay stub is legit, but they were fired yesterday and they no longer have a job. So we want to make sure that they're up to date with their employment, they have a proof of income, and their income is at least 3 times the rent that we're charging. Now, after looking at their credit and criminal background check as well as their proof of income, and you determine that they're not a good fit for your rental property, you do need to give them what's called an adverse action letter. This is kind of like the letter you receive from banks and credit card companies when getting denied on a credit card offer. You have to do something similar when it comes to denying a tenant. You don't have to tell them the reason why they were denied, but you do have to let them know that they can get a free credit report from the 3 national bureaus within 60 days. Make sure you comply with the federal law. This falls into the Fair Credit Reporting Act, so make sure you give them an adverse action letter letting them know that they've been denied and they can get their own credit report within 60 days of getting denied with their application. Now, let's say they did get approved, they check out well, they have good credit, good criminal background information. What we do is we go and give them a call, letting them know that they've been approved, and we also ask that they submit their security deposit ASAP. Now, with the security deposit, make sure it's certified cash check, not personal check. We prefer cashier's check because we don't want anything bounced. And also, when they move in, at the time that they move in, we also ask for a full month's of rent. So that's 2 separate items, security deposit and a full month's of rent up ahead, and they need to be written out with 2 separate checks. Both we prefer to be a cashier's check or a certified check from MoneyGram or Western Union, whichever they prefer. Now, when it comes to the lease, I prefer to do a walkthrough before they sign the lease. And when you do a walkthrough, make sure you take pictures of your property to sort of document the condition before they move in. Because who knows, right? There might be a damage, or the tenants may have caused damage, and later on they may have said, well, the property was already like that. Well, you need to have proof and evidence as to what the condition of the property looked like before they moved in. So take pictures and videos of the unit before they move in, and after you do conduct a walkthrough with the tenant, then go and sign the lease. Make sure your tenants sign every single field that requires an initial and a signature, and make sure you double and triple check to make sure that they did, because after they move in, okay, it's gonna be a lot tougher for them to move out or for you to get them to move out. So that's pretty much my screening criteria, guys, on how I properly screen a tenant. If you guys want to see more information on how to properly manage your property, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as hit the bell icon to get notified for our future videos. Now, the next video that you guys should watch is this video right here, how to acquire rental properties without using your own money or credit. I know you already have a rental property, but let's go and get you some more. So go and click on that video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.